Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome to round 3 of the DKL Labs not V8, that was last season, DTM Championship. And tonight we are at round 3, which is brought to you from Laguna, Seca in the US of A. So this is quite a short circuit. So I think we're going to see some quite exciting racing tonight, because this will give some variance to the pit strategies by the individual drivers, because some of the circuits we've had that we've been to, like Le Mans or Circuit de la Sarthe, to give its correct title, have been quite long laps, and that's rather controlled the decisions the drivers have made regarding fuel and tyres, whereas this has got a much shorter lap to it, which means they will be able to flex that strategy. So it should be quite exciting to see what drivers decide to do with it. Oh, and we've got a few drivers heading back to the pits. What have we got going on here? Let's have a look. Steve Stoughton's in the pit there. I'm not quite sure. We appear to have another one of our room problems tonight, because we've lost all the drivers. This is always very embarrassing. We've got the pit bug for the same problem twice in a week. So, qualifying has been cancelled, as you can see on screen. Oh, we're getting some comments in on YouTube, so let's have a quick look, see what people are saying. Good to get a bit of interaction on this one. So, bear with me 1 second. Here we go, live chat, we always like to see. Oh, Hayden Hall says hi. Hi back at you, Hayden. Dave Cannon, he says evening. Hello, Dave. Simon Swift says his car will look pretty in the gravel traps. Well, I'm not, is it gravel? Or is it just sort of more of a sort of sandy effort on the edge there? And Technica, our commentator for a Wednesday night for our Group 4 series, he's checked in to say hello. So, just while we're waiting for things to get going on this, which hopefully will shortly, it looks like we could be up and away. We've got the qualifier running again. I think that's Dan heading out in the Kit Kat sponsor. And while we're on board with Dan, it's great to see him back at the championship. He skipped last week's round, and that has obviously cost him some points in the championship. However, he's back this week, and hopefully, as in the words of Gary Barlow, he's back for good. So who else have we got out with us tonight? We've got quite a full house tonight, so I can see it being quite busy. Loxtech is out with us. He's one of our quick drivers, so he should be up the front as well, fighting for the win. Stormfly, again, another very quick driver. He will be up the front there. And a new driver is HKRT Panos, who I'll just refer to as Panos, because the speed things happened in this series, I won't be able to keep up with a full name like that. He's one of our Greek entries, so he's a new driver to the championship. And then Select from Poland, he's quite a quick driver, generally not necessarily right at the front, but certainly up on sort of bashing away at the back end of the podium. And then we got Scally, who looks like he's possibly had a change of car. I'm not sure he was in the Beetle last week, I may be wrong. But he is a relatively newcomer to flat-out e-racing. Stu Stoughton, he said he's not feeling too great tonight, so may dive out, so we'll have to see how it goes. As I said, it's such a short lap. Drivers already round and putting lap times in. And then we got in 10th there, Cajun 100. That's Kevin, who organises the room. Oh, he's gone back to the pits there. Let's see who else we got. Oh no, we've got the same problem happening again. It's all technical errors tonight by the look of it. Let's have a quick look, see if Dan's still going at the front. At least somebody's still going. No, it looks like we're going to have to reset again, I'm afraid. Please bear with us. It's not working well for us tonight so far, is it? So let's hope it's third time lucky. Drivers are all just getting themselves organised again. While we're just waiting for things to get organised here, what I will do is just talk you quickly where we are with this championship. It's a 6-round championship, and this is the 3rd round, so after this is obviously marked the halfway stage. And we've been so far to Circuit de la Sarthe, better known to most of you as Le Mans, and then we were at one of the Gran Turismo fantasy circuits, which was St. Quart last week, which produced some really quite exciting racing. This week, as I mentioned already, we're at Laguna Seca, and then next week, sorry, it's an 8-round championship. I'm thinking of a different one that I commentate on. I do apologise, it's all going pear-shaped tonight. And then next week we'll be at Fuji. Following week we're off to Italy for Monza, and then to Interlagos in Brazil, and then down under to Bathurst, which always produces quite an exciting race because the wall's right on the edge of the track as you go up and over the mountain. It does tend to catch the drivers out, so that can flip the result all over the place. And then finally we come home to Brands Hatch in the UK for the final round. Just to remind you, the format for tonight. Oh, it looks like we do have drivers on track. Let's hope it stays that way. Hop on board with Dan up the front there. We've got 2 races for you tonight. Once we eventually get a qualifier working, this will take 10 minutes. We will then dive into our first race, and the first race will be fastest first, and that will be a 20-minute race. And then at the end of that one, the race will become a reverse grid setup for race 2. So whoever wins the first race will be on the back for the second race. And also the top 6 drivers, just to give them a little bit of a handicap, will have to use a harder format of tyres. And that second race will be a little bit longer. That will be a 30-minute race. So hopefully we've got a couple of different formats there which will shake the grid up and hopefully liven things up for the racing. Not that we normally need any livening up. All we need is a qualifying session that works, and we're hoping for one of them. So Dan is now completed, and hopefully we are working. So let's tell you what, we're going to hop on board with Dan round this really quick little circuit. Has hosted in the past IndyCar racing and also MotoGP before it moved to the Austin circuit. So it's very simple. We come up here, we've got this left-hander here, and it's very critical, all these corners. Just see the edge of the track. That track is very sandy and can catch you out, and it's very important not just to try and overdrive that little bit too much. But here we go, this is the crux corner of this circuit, the corkscrew. Here we go, around this corner, and it just drops off a cliff down the roller coaster ride, and it's so easy to get a track limits warning through the corkscrew section because it's really easy just to try and straight line it that a little bit too much, and you hit those sleeping policemen. Now this last corner is tighter than it looks, and you just need to use all that track. So here we go, hopefully we're going to start to get some qualifying in. So Dan set the benchmark at 120.1, Loxtech is 122, Stormfly 121, so he's just, Stu Stout with a good lap there, he's slotted into second with 121.2, Chili Bass in there 121.9, Nolly's Mate 123.4, Scally 22.3, on occasion 131. I think he must have had a problem on that lap there, and Select 131 as well, so they, I don't think, are representative laps. So Steve Stoughton, considering he said he wasn't feeling very well tonight, has already he had put it on the front row of the grid. Unfortunately he's just slid back because Timorous has just picked him and gone into second place, but it's really tight up at the top there. Look at it, Steve Stoughton's just over a quarter of a second off Dan in pole position, so this is going to be really tight. So how long have we got? We've got 6 minutes left. Drivers will be coming around to put in their next laps. I think we're going to find that as the tyre wears on these qualifiers, that the times for the fast guys will probably drop off a little bit. Let's see. Oh, how wrong was I? Look at that. Dan's dropped to a 120.1, and then and Locksteck slid through there with a Valentino Rossi livery there. He slipped through into second place. Now Dan's got himself a little bit of a buffer zone there, because these guys, Scally with a quicker lap there, he's done the 122.1, and Select a 123.198. I'm surprised by Select. He's normally a little bit quicker than there, so I reckon he's looking to get his eye. Now Stormfly's, he's flying, because he's 0.2 up at the first sector. So let's stick on board with him and see what he can do. As I said, you can see the edge of those tracks. That sand, it just tempts you to push the limits of this circuit, and it's just so not worth it. So here he goes, climbing the hill up towards the corkscrew. It's very difficult to be able to describe how steep it is as you drop off. Here we go, not too far over that curve, keeping it on the tarmac, down the roller coaster ride. Oh, he's lost a little bit there, Stormfly. He's now only 0.15 up. However, this will gap him a little bit from Locksteck. Timorous has gone for the pits. He's probably got time to get back out and have another run if he gets out fairly quickly. We've got just over 4 minutes remaining. So Locksteck goes through. Oh, he gained a lot in that last sector. He's half a second up. Fantastic bit of driving there. So let's see who else we've got working away. Locksteck in third place, coming up to complete a lap. Let's see what he's going to do. Now, if these guys want to go for a fresh set of tyres, they're going to have to do it now. So Locksteck goes over, doesn't go any quicker. But Cajun 100 does. Look at that, a 121.4. So that gets him up into 7th place, and Select does a 121.0. As I said, those drivers didn't really put in representative times. Panos has just hopped up there onto the top 3 with a 120.8. So that's got him up. Oh dear, hello, who's gone a little bit wide there? Someone was out in, I think the phrase is the boomie. Oh, that was Select. So let's just move our way down, see who's doing what. So Stormfly's gone back to the pits, and I say these guys have got time to put on a fresh set of boots and get out there and get another time in. It looks like both Stu's down. Oh, and Locksteck's really, really wide there. Exactly what I was describing earlier, that it's so tempted to push the limits of this track, but it will come back and bite you. And he does it again. I think that'll be a track limits warning on that one. So Dan, look at that time. Dan is back, and Dan's back with a bang. He's below 120. He's done a 119 there, and gapped Stormfly by half a second. So a 119.847. I will be surprised if anybody can do anything on that. He's 2 seconds off on this lap, so I think he's probably decided that's all he can do. So let's see who's doing what. Stormfly, hopefully Dan has gone back to pitch. Yes, he has. Stormfly in second. Look at that. He's 0.526 behind Dan and 0.526 in front of Panos. How's that for a perfect equilibrium of timing? So here we go. Stormfly to the line. Can he do anything about that time of Dan's? No, he's not gone any faster on this occasion, I'm afraid. So Panos, where's he? He's working his way around the lap. Let's see where he's at the first split. No, he's only a fraction down. So there's a possibility he might be able to do something there, but Select in 4th. Now that's a much more representative time from Select there. He's done a 121.0. So he's a possibility he might be able to pull something off here. Let's see how he does as he comes across the second. Oh, look at that, he's 0.3 up. So let's, and unfortunately, exactly as I was saying, he's been caught out by track limits. He gained that time, but unfortunately he didn't gain it legally. So let's move down. Locksteck, he's there in 5th. Little bit vulnerable to Timorous there, who is there in 6th, because Timorous is only 0.07, 7/100ths of a second behind him. So let's see what Locksteck is doing at the second split. As he crosses the line, hopefully he hasn't. Oh, and another one that's been caught out by track limits, so that's not going to work for him, I'm afraid. So Timorous there in the Superman liveried Beetle. He's currently sick. Oh, Stormfly's put in a 120.3. Unfortunately, that's not going to do anything for him to catch Dan. We've got 40 seconds remaining, so if he's on track, he has got a chance to put another lap in. But time for these guys is running out. It looks like Dan has decided he's done his best and he's sat there in the pits. He's basically thrown his gauntlet down, waiting to see if anyone else can beat that time that he's set, that 119.8. So Stormfly's decided he's given it his all. He's gone back to the pits as well. It's not back to Stu Stoughton. He was closer up the front there early on, but then a few other times came in, so he slipped back there to 7th, but still a good midfield position. Cajun 100, that's a good looking time there. He's come, looks like he's that'll be his final lap, so I think he's just rolling there, so he's not going to put in a faster lap there, but 8th, I'm sure he'll be chuffed with that. And then in 9th, we've got Chili Bass, another one of the HKRT team. And then Noddy's mate, who thought he was going to be at the back, he's there in 10th at the moment. And then in 11th, we've got Scally, who is only just 0.01 of a second, 1/100th of a second behind Noddy's mate, so it's really tight down there. And finally in 12th place, Devlin Calypso in 12th. So here we go, we're just waiting for all the drivers to roll back to the pits, and then we will be off with race 1. Oh, Lockstech just slid it through into 3rd place there, right at the death. So, fantastic job there. I thought everyone had finished the laps, but it appeared Lockstech still had something to give. So, he's just slipped through there and knocked Panos down to 4th. So, I think that's going to be really, really tight up the front. I think Dan... Oh, and Timorous comes back with a 121.0, so he's up to 5th. And looking at the track map, no, that is it. So, there's no more surprises to come. So, but I think it's going to be really tight up the front. Dan has definitely got the pace tonight. But we will have to wait and see whether anybody can challenge him over a race distance, and whether there'll be anything that others can do when it comes down to strategy. Because that could be the player tonight, because of this short 1 minute 20 lap. Gives the drivers lots of options which way to go. So they could roll the dice, and then of course in the second race the fast guys will be handicapped, at least initially, with a harder compound tyre, so they may have to go with a different strategy to get themselves forward in the field. So it will be quite interesting to see how we're going to shake things out. So while we are talking away here, let's just see if we've got anything going on YouTube. In a word, no. Please dive in. Who do you think's going to win? Let's have your predictions for the race starts, of course. You know, maybe go for something rather than the obvious of Dan, who is out there, obviously with quite a pace tonight. So maybe, you know, if there's somebody you think that could work a different strategy or something like that, maybe that's something that you could, you know, roll the dice, see who you think. We're just waiting for this to finally finish, which we'll do in the next 5 seconds. And here we go, we're just about to start race 1. It will be a grid start, so it's important not to overcook it and jump start it, because you then get a penalty. So what a great sight to see such a full grid tonight. Let's hope we have some really clean racing. We've got plenty of space around this circuit, no walls really to get in the way too much. It's giving me a bit of a funny angle. Let's go with that. I'm hoping. And we're off. And it looks like Lockstech's got a really good start there. He's going to the outside of Dan. And Panos is also from 4th, is trying to get by Stormfly. Oh, he's picked up a little bit of a penalty there. It looks like Dan's gone a little bit deep there. And he's Oh, onto glass. Oh, they're 3 wide into the right-hander. That's not really going to work. But they seem to have got away with it, and they're all heading in the same direction. Now, hopefully Panos is aware that he needs to lose that penalty during this lap. But as we're whizzing up the hill, Stormfly's got the lead. Lockstech second, Dan dropped to third, but now that is a surprise. We thought Dan would be making a fast exit, but he hasn't. So Panos in the background needs to drop that penalty. Hopefully he'll work that as he's coming up the hill. So here we are, we're already round to the corkscrew. Now, Dan, we know, had the pace from qualifying, and he tends to be a bit of a thinking driver, does our Dan, so I don't think he's going to try any great dives or lunges. He will let the race come to him. So I think we'll see a long game being played by Dan. He knows these guys in front of him are quick. And then Timorous is waiting there in the background. Looks like Panos has done the right thing and dropped that penalty, so all looking well. Dan's in the slipstream there of Lockstech as they come up to the first corner. Can he do anything? Lockstech going defensive, puts his car in the middle of the track. Nothing Dan can do about that one at the moment. So he's just biding his time. Let's have a look. Have we got anything happening a bit further down? Panos was the big loser at the start, had that penalty. He qualified 4th, he's dropped to 6th, and that's really, it looks like Chili Bass has moved up, and so has Noddy's mate as well. So Noddy's mate up there in 8th, I'm sure he'll be chuffed with that one. But as you can see on the track plan, oh, Dan running a bit wide there, getting his wheels in the dirt. Now that will have slowed him up, and Timorous is coming at quite a pace behind him. So, but as you can see by the track map, top right hand corner, we've got a good long line stream of cars. Everyone keeping very competitive, which is what we like to see here at Flat Out E-Racing. So here we go, whizzing back down the hill again. Dan seems to have pulled away a little bit from Timorous, and Lockstech is keeping Stormfly honest, but not really hassling him too much at the moment. I'm just looking in the background just to see if I can see anything particularly happening. Well, it looks like Dan again gets a very good exit from that last corner, and with a slipstream down this main, well, I'd call it straight, but it's not overly straight. Old Lockstech looks like he's going a bit slippy slidey there, but he's managed to gather it all up. Now there's nowhere really around this next part of the track where there's great opportunities to overtake, which Dan's probably now going to prove me wrong, because he's right under the rear wing of Lockstech's BMW. But Lockstech is, you know, he's playing fair, but he's playing defensive. So I'll tell you what I think we're going to do is hop on board with Dan to see from a driver's eye point of view what he can do about this situation. So we're coming up round the left-hander. You can see behind we're gapping Timorous a little bit, and it looks like Lockstech is just dropping away from Stormfly. So here we go, round the top of the corkscrew, over the top, down the hill. So we know Dan is very good out of that last corner. He does seem to be gaining down this section here. Again, it's so easy here just to run that bit wide and put your wheels in the dirt. Can he go down the inside of the hairpin? No, Lockstech puts his car in the middle of the track. He can't do anything about it. So, Lockstech can't get traction out that last corner, and he was all sideways there. So Dan, can he take the advantage? He's closer this time than what he has been, but Lockstech's really, really defensive. Dan's going to the outside. Can he go right round the outside? No, he can't. But Lockstech looks like he's gone a bit deep, and look at the background. Timorous is right up there as well. This is going to get exciting, guys. So here we go, off for another lap. Let's look quickly on board. Oh, Timorous was getting out in the sandy stuff. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to look quickly on board with these guys, see where they are with fuel. So they've got just over, or just under a quarter of a tank there for Dan. So they are going to have to pit at some point in this race, and that could be the deciding factor. Now we can see that Stormfly is getting away in out front there, and definitely gapping Lockstech. As we head up yet again, it seems to come round about 4 times a lap as the corkscrew corner. Oh no! It looks like eventually Lockstech made a mistake. Here we go. Yeah, he just went too deep on the brakes as he went into the corkscrew, and he went across the gravel, and he's dropped from second to third to fourth, and he's now being hassled by selecting fifth, and hopefully we can get back. Here we go. And let's have a quick look back. So yes, so Locksteck's back up to fourth, but he's really getting hassled by Panos and Chili Bass, so he is getting a real attention from the Greek squad there. But look at the fuel gauge at the bottom of these guys. So pit stops are going to have to start to happen probably end of this lap. We've got just under 14 minutes remaining. We'll stick with this battle at the moment because looking up front, Dan has got a bit of work to catch Stormfly, but we know his out and out pace is good. Oh, Select took a big chunk of that sleeping policeman on the inside, and he paid the price. It forced him wide, and now as we whiz up towards the corkscrew again, he's dropped back behind Panos. So Panos is now after Locksteck in fourth. But that was a great run from Locksteck there in second place. Oh, and here we go. Dan's in the pits, Stormfly's in the pits. So this is where strategy. Oh, looks like someone was diving for the pits and then pulled away. So let's have a look. So Timorous has taken the lead, and he looks like he's pushing the limit. Now Timorous, these Greek drivers seem to have a great ability to extend the fuel and tyres on their vehicles with their driving style. Now looking at Timorous's fuel gauge there at the bottom, it's looking very red, and that pump is flashing. So if I was him, I'd be certainly getting fuel running out anxiety. But it's interesting to note the ones that have been able to come through and drive that little bit further are the Greeks. Look, HKRT are filling positions 1, 2 and 3. So everybody below fourth has gone for the pits on that last lap. So maybe there's something in the strategy which these guys will be working on, which will come as a surprise later on. So I believe these all started with half a tank, so this will mean that these guys will be able to have shorter pit stops because they won't have to wait for so much fuel to go in. Now these do seem to be running remarkably as a team now, don't they? Here we go, 1 in the pits, 2 in the pits, 3 in the pits. Yeah, not surprised at all. So I think the other one that will probably be going for the pits is Devlin Calypso. He was actually at the back, but now running fourth on road. Of course, if he goes round and he's having to go for the pits. Like I say, if he went round and didn't a lap, he might actually leave for lap. But what we didn't spot while I was concentrating on the Greek drivers is during that pit stop strategy, Dan managed to jump Stormfly. Now I will just jump on with Stormfly as well to see whether it's a fuel. Yeah, well, it looks like Dan only took 3/4 of a tank, whereas Stormfly took a full tank. So whether Dan has got enough fuel to get to the end in the Kit Kat Porsche, I don't know. Only time will tell us that. We've got just under 11 minutes remaining. So has Dan played the ace card here? He's used the pit stops as the opportunity to get past Stormfly, and I notice that Locksteck is back up there in third. So the standard order has been resumed in some ways. So I'm not quite sure where this is going to go. We're getting some comments on YouTube. Let's have a quick look to see what everybody's talking about out there. So Dutch says, come on Stormfly and Dan. Technica says penalties could come into play tonight. So you reckon Stormfly can stay consistent? If he stays consistent, he would take on the race 1 victory. Well, it's not going his way at the moment. But who knows? Time may tell. But Dan has now gapped him by a couple of seconds. So let's just do our quick rundown of the field. We've got Locksteck there in third. He had that little moment at the corkscrew. where he ran straight across the gravel and dropped down, I think, at one point to 5th. And he has now got himself back up to 3rd, but he does have great attention there from Panos, who, after his pit stop, the pack of 3 Greeks came out in 4th, 5th and 6th. So I think they are definitely going to give him a hard time. So we'll keep half an eye on that one. So we'll hop back to Select in 7th, who definitely lost out during that pit stop strategy, because he was around about 4th or 5th before the pit stop, and now has dropped back to 7th. But he's in close attention to the Greek pack, and obviously they are working their way forward. So now the driver that I know is going to be really, really chuffed at the moment is Noddy's mate. He wasn't expecting a lot tonight, but he's there up there in 8th, so I think he'll be quite chuffed with that one. So hopefully he can keep it on the island. And right behind him is his friend Kevin, Cajun 100, in the Mercedes. So these two look like they're going at it fairly hammer and tongs. So hopefully they can keep it on track and keep it pointing in the right direction for the rest of the night. So we got Scally in 10th. He's a little bit on his own at the moment. He's 6.7 behind Cajun and about 5 seconds in front of Devlin, who is down there in 11th at the moment. Now, I can only assume, unseen by us, Stu Stoughton has had some form of problem, because he qualified sort of mid-pack and he is now down in 12th and about 10 seconds drift of Devlin at the back. So I don't quite know what's happened with Stu there. Hopefully we'll hear afterwards. But he's certainly out of position on where I would expect him to be. So let's move back up to see what's happening at the front. We've got just 7.5 minutes remaining. Now, Technica's prediction of Stormfly may be coming to fruition, because I think maybe, and this is commentator guesswork going on, is that Stormfly took more fuel on and can run at a faster pace than Dan, who maybe is having to be a little bit conservative on fuel, because the gap was over 2 seconds. It's now only 1.7. So I think there could be a closing of the gap here at the lead. Well, let's keep an eye on it. Certainly the first section there is dropping down to 1.5 seconds, but now it's pulling back out a little bit more as it seesaws as they brake and accelerate for the corners and get closer and further apart. So we'll keep an eye on that one via the track map, but I think where we want to put our eyes is probably with this battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Now Chili Bass appears to have dropped off the back of this a little bit, but Loxtec is clinging on to that last podium position, but he's mirrors full of Panos and Timorous. So we've got just 6 minutes remaining, so that's going to be about 4 laps. So if these guys want to make a move, it's going to be soon. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact there, but everyone kept facing the right way. So I'm watching the leaders up front as well, and it doesn't look like Stormfly is getting particularly close. Just while we're waiting to see this battle bubble over and boil, just a quick word about our sponsors. Decal Labs, they can supply livery for virtually anything. They work for teams in the British touring cars. So do a quick Google. If you want your car to look like something that's just escaped from the racetrack, they are the guys to talk to. And just look at this on screen now. Panos is giving Loxtec such a hard time, but Loxtec is fending him off at every corner. But I'm sure if Loxtec makes one mistake, Panos will be through, and Timorous is there lurking as well. So I don't think this one is over yet by any way, shape or means. Chili Bass has definitely fallen back a little bit, but this is going to get quite lively in a minute. I think what we'll do is possibly hop on board, because I think we're just getting to the point. We'll hop on board with Panos, because it's this section here where he needs to get really, really close as they come down to the final hairpin and just get that good run down the straight. It's all about on the brakes here, getting it just right. Corner that's tighter than it looks, and just trying to get close enough as he exits the corner. He can get in the slipstream, the hole in the air by the car in front. He can jump into that vacuum and get himself drawn along, and then eventually get alongside. Again, Lockstech brakes so late into that first corner and goes deep, but he just seems to be able to shuffle it all up. But in the background, let's have a quick look externally, because it looks like Timorous has fallen back into the clutches of Chili Bass. So, not quite sure where to look at this one at the moment. We'll try and keep them all on screen for you. So, work their way round and back up the hill yet again. Just 3.5 minutes remaining. So, looking at where Dan is working his way down the hill, I think we'll either have 2 or 3 laps. It just depends when he's going to cross the line. But Lockstech, look what a stunning job he's doing, holding these guys off. But there's options what clear. Lockstech can make a mistake and these guys will be through quickly. Or the guys behind him, one of the Greek lot, will decide they're going to make a move. And it looks like Select's coming to join the party in the background as well. So look at this, 5. Oh no! I think that was Timorous hit the wall there, or was it Chili Bass? I think it might have been Chili Bass. Hit the wall there, just got a little bit too much on the right foot coming out of the final turn, and the back end came round on him, and that was the end of that. But it also looks like Panos is not giving up quite yet on trying to get that last step of the podium. Look at this, this is fantastic stuff. And still the guys in 6th and 7th, they haven't given up on this either. So this is going to go down to the wire. We've got 2 minutes 13. It looks like Panos is having a look, but he's vulnerable to behind from Timorous, and he is. Timorous has got him on the switchback. Can he get up alongside? No, he's going to tuck back in. He's decided better of it. This is giving Lockstech a little bit of breathing space. He'll head up the hill again. So oh, look at that. Oh, Panos, sorry, was looking to go down the inside. But Lockstech is definitely holding these guys up. And look at this whole stream of cars. There's a group of 5 of them. Absolutely bumper to bumper. I really don't know how this one's going to end. Lockstech's coming in to join the party as well. Panos is trying everything to get by Lockstech, but he just can't. Oh, and Lockstech's made a mistake coming out in that final corner. He was a bit sideways. And I think that marginally held up Timorous and has given, Panos, and it gave Timorous an opportunity to go down the inside. But here we go, last lap. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, it looks like there was a bit of contact there, but I think Panos managed to back out of it and didn't actually rotate Timorous. But the one that has lost out looks like, Panos dived there on Lockstech, pushed Lockstech sideways, but he did back out of it sufficiently that Lockstech didn't get spun round. But the one that lost out in that badly was Timorous, because he was in 5th place and he's dropped down to 7th. So unfortunately that was a teammates coming together there, I believe. But I'm sure we will find out after the race. So we've got just under 30 seconds remaining. Now it just depends whether Dan crosses the line. Yeah, Dan's going to cross the line and Stormfly's going to cross the line. But these guys, this is it. The time will be out when they get to the finishing line. So that will be the end of their race. Oh, a little bumper nudge there, but no harm done by the look of it. And they're making a dash for the line. The time's up. Oh, it's side by side. Oh, look at that. So close. 5/100ths of a second. So, 3rd place, Lockstech. 4th, Panos. 5th, Chili Bass. 6th, Select. 7th, Timorous. 8th is Cajun 100. Oh, what happened to Noddy's mate? He was doing so well. Stu Stoughton, he got himself back up to 9th, so that's a really good recovery by him. So he's just coming up across the finishing line. It's a great result there. Scally coming through in 10th, and 11th Devin Calypso. So we'll just head back up with the leaders. So after that little bit of closing of the gap by Stormfly, Dan has eased it out to 4.5 seconds. So the concerns I had over his amount of fuel that he put on at the pit stops was completely unwarranted, and it was a commentator giving you a bit of a bum steer, I'm afraid. But a great job there from Dan. Didn't panic when he dropped to 3rd at the start. Had a shorter fuel on his pit stop to give himself the undercut under Stormfly. Got himself out in front and then cleared off and won. And then second, really strong finish there for Stormfly. So, what a great race we've just had. And we've got another one to go. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us at Flat Out. So let's see if we've got any more chat on YouTube. Well, we have, but it's Technica and Hayden having a bit of a social, which you're more than welcome to do. So there we go. Dan is back and comes straight back in with a victory. So congratulations, so pole position and wins the race. So can't ask for much more than that, and I would imagine he possibly put in the fastest lap as well. So where are we going to go second race? So we're going to have a reverse grid. So the first 6 from the top 6 from the first race will have to change to medium tyres just to start the race. They can then change those to whatever they want at a later point in the race. They could do it on the first lap, or they could do it when they've run out of fuel. So the choice completely is theirs. So it's up to them what they want to do. So, but that does give the guys at front the chance to maybe make a little bit of a gap. So, we're having a report in from Neil Hall, who's Noddy's mate. He spun and got an engine fault, so hence retired to the pit. So, but thinking about that, Neil, that was a great run by yourself. You're up there in 8th, so I'm sure you were chuffed for that until the engine gremlins came and ended your push. So great to see you up there. Obviously can't talk about motor racing today without mentioning the sad death today of Frank Williams, who's team principal of the Williams Formula 1 team, who was one of the stalwart characters of the F1 paddock since, I believe, the late 60s. Originally wanted to be a racer himself, but realised he wasn't up to that particular task. So he then moved into selling parts for Formula 3 cars, and then hooked up with a driver called Piers Courage and went into Formula 1. And unfortunately, Piers got killed at the 1970 F1 race at Zandvoort, and that held back Frank's ambitions for a little while. He then got involved or hired Patrick Head, but was always struggling for money, and then eventually sold his team to a guy called Walter Wolf, who ironically, under the newly branded team, won their very first race, I think at the hands of Jody Scheckter, but I may be corrected on that one. But playing second fiddle wasn't Frank's thing, so he, with Patrick Head, went off and set up Williams Grand Prix Engineering, which is still the company that it is now, and done so much for motorsport over the years. Outside of Formula 1, brought in drivers like Jason Plato when they were Williams were running the touring car team, and we obviously know the great things that Jason went on to do. At the time, he was a bit out in the wilderness when it came to racing opportunities. So he was more than pleased with what Frank did for him, and obviously the names that are driven for him, such as Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Jacques Villeneuve, Juan Pablo Montoya, Mark Webber, Nico Rosberg. The names just go on. And of course, Frank's massive road car accident in 1986 when basically broke his back, and he was a quadriplegic since then, and I believe he's the longest living quadriplegic there's ever been. And the fact he's still here is down to his wife Ginny, who, when he was taken to the hospital in France where the accident happened, they basically suggested they should turn off the life support machine and let him die. And she had very much other ideas, and brought him back to the UK, I think involving Bernie Ecclestone, and obviously he made a certain amount of recovery and was able to still run his team. So fantastic life that Frank has had despite that incident, and I say his sad loss today. So, but thankfully Williams under its new owners is still running as a team, and hopefully we're going to see it coming back towards the front with the new regulations we'll have next year. So that's enough of my Formula 1 interlude for the evening. We'll have a quick mention of Decal Labs, who is our sponsor. They're providing the prizes for the drivers, and they are a livery company which can supply vinyl cut decals. You can put them on whatever you want. Put them on your wall at home. You can put them on your cars. If you've got a design in your head, I'm sure you could speak to the guys and they could come up with something that can fulfill that dream. So if you want to do Google Decal Labs, I'm sure you can get in touch. Mention that you heard about them on Flat Out E-Racing, and that would be absolutely fantastic, because we like all the good stuff that they do to go round and help us out as well. So with the guys who are going to be out on mediums are, I think, generally just going out and having a little bit of a run to see what they are feeling like on those medium tyres. Not that they're going to run on them for probably that long. I think the 30-minute race, I think these guys are probably going to be able to ease it out to one stop. Last one was 20 minutes and they managed to do it. So if we get multiple stops, that could be quite good, because it will obviously bring in a sort of different strategies for different drivers. So hopefully we're going to see something which will keep us thinking right to the end, which we had at the first round at Circuit de la Sarthe, where a driver who's not with us tonight, Willie Back, he at the last lap managed to snatch the win, because the drivers in front of him were actually running out of fuel and they had to back right off. So, and I would say that the commentator did actually predict it on that particular occasion. So hopefully we'll get something similar tonight. The go button has been pressed on the final and we are ready to go. So grid start, 30 minutes. Fast guys are at the back and starting on hard tyres. So this hopefully will be a good one. And we may have one or two drivers out of position earlier who we know have got pace, like Stewstown. He's there in 4. Noddy's mate is right up the front as well. Let's get a better view. No, that's not the view I was looking for. We're going to have to wait for it to go, because it doesn't want to play ball today. The lights are revving and we're off. Here we go. So it looked like Scally was getting a really good start there in the middle, but he hasn't been able to find a way through. Noddy's mate, Cajun 100's the one with the cracking start though. He's right through, and Stu Stout, one of the drivers I mentioned, has got through, but he has picked up a penalty. Oh no! That looked like Dan was off in the gravel in the background there. So that will make his evening very much a harder bit of work than probably what he was thinking. So this is definitely going to liven things up. So we've got Cajun 100 out front, Stu Stout in the second. Both of these drivers know have got pace. So now that the faster drivers, well, the one of the faster drivers that has got through is Timorous, who had that incident towards the end of the first race. Hopefully Stu Stout will drop that penalty before he gets to the end of this lap, which he knows he needs to do. The one that has got through, that could be, I think, a good bet for the win, is Stormfly, because he's got his way through from basically second at the back. He's already up to fifth. So with Dan, who is, I believe, well down at the back. Let's have a look. Yeah, Dan's right at the back. He's only 10 seconds off the leaders at the moment. Oh, interesting strategy. Dan is going to get rid of those medium tyres straight away. Now, maybe he thinks that contributed to his problems there, but it's interesting. He's going in to do that, and he's got half a tank of fuel, which all the drivers have started on. He's got damage at the back, according to that, where it must have been where he contacted the wall. So he's obviously coming in to get that repaired as well. But he's obviously would go for a softer tyre, but this is going to put him way out of position. Now I imagine he's going to fill it up to go as far in the race as he can. But we're half a tank already. That's not going to take too long. And yep, there he's on, and we're away. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out for him, because as you can see by the marker on the top right, he is about half a lap away from all the other drivers. So interesting strategy there from Dan. We'll see how that one works out. So here we go. But the 1 second the pace at the moment is Cajun 100. He is out in the lead by 2 seconds, but the man who is coming more than Stormfly is Timorous. Timorous is up there to second. Stormfly was in fourth, but he's got Stu Stout to get by. So we're 3 minutes into this race. We've got 27 minutes to go. I think our next likely move that we're going to see is probably Timorous on Cajun for the lead, I would imagine. Either that or it's going to be Stormfly on Stu Stout. Yeah, it looks like we hop down to fourth with Stormfly. He's catching Stu Stout at a pace, but Stu Stout's no slouch. So this is all looking really tight up front. And the great thing we're seeing tonight is there's been nothing really overly rough and tumble in the driving as well. So it's great to see some really quality driving going on out there. So Stormfly is looking like he's giving it his all, trying to catch up with Stu Stoughton. But the gap I can also see coming down very much is Timorous onto the back of Cajun 100. So I think Stormfly is the closer of the two at the moment. As we work down towards the final corner, yeah, he's got a bit of a gap there. But let's look as we see. Yeah, there's a bit of a gap still between Cajun 100 and Timorous. So I think Stormfly is the next one who's locked to make a manoeuvre. So there isn't great opportunities really here for overtaking. But here we go. He's looking to go down the inside, and Stu Stoughton's decided to let him go. Now, that may have been strategic on Stu Stoughton's point of view, because he may have realised that Stormfly was that bit quicker, and maybe rather than losing time trying to battle him with the inevitability that he thought Stormfly would get by, better to let him go and maybe try and hang on to the back of him to sort of effectively drag him around the circuit and hopefully get a good result on the back of that. So a little bit of tactics coming into this already, and we're only 5 minutes into the race. So keeping an eye on where Dan is. So yeah, he's making progress, but I'm still not quite sure how that's going to shake out for him. I don't know whether that fuel stop will allow him to get all the way to the end of the race. It'll be interesting if it does, but I think he's going to have to make another stop. But I would imagine he is just pumping in qualifying laps like it's going out of fashion at the moment. He's got clear space, he's got nobody in the way. So the next one I think is going to be making a move is Timorous on Cajun 100. He's got that gap. It was just over 2 seconds a couple of laps ago. It's now down to just 1.1. So I think this is where the next move is going to come from. So just looking down the field, everything looks fairly spread out at the moment, nothing too close. And the only one that's looking out spots at the moment is Dan, who is the opposite side of the track to everybody else because of that counter strategy that he's working on. So I think the next jump is going to be for the lead, but I think Cajun is going to be chuffed with this at the moment because he's in a genuine first place. And maybe he can hang on to a good position here as the race goes on. He's had a couple of good positions in the other two races and unfortunately had a couple of instances and it slipped away from him. So hopefully on this occasion he might be able to hold it together because it's 3 seconds back to Stormfly behind him. So he has got a bit of a buffer zone at the moment. So, and the time's ticking down. Oh, Timorous has made a mistake there. He's done a bit of track cutting, so he's got a half-second penalty there. Now he needs to drop that off before the end of the lap, which he's doing. There we go, down. Oh, but he's also using the opportunity to go into the pits, so that's quite an interesting strategy. So let's have a look at his dashboard. So he's almost out of fuel. So those guys that started there with the half tank are all having to dive for the pits, so effectively that's everybody from second down to 10th. Now Dan's put the fastest lap in with 1:25, so I think he is the man maybe we want to jump in with, because we'll see how that is going to work out, because Steve Stoughton has managed to stay out, and the other one up into second place is Devlin Calypso. I'm sure he'll be chuffed for that with that moment in the sun. But let's see how this is going to work for Dan, because he's coming down towards the pits. He's round that last tight left-hander. So is anybody going to come out of the pits, or is that... here we go. We've got cars popping out of the pits, but they're not going to be at full speed. There we go. They're over the top. Look at this for Dan. Fantastic stuff. He's going out. He's currently showing us third. Can he hang on to it? That's so tight in that pit lane exit. You just lose so much speed. And look at that, Dan. He's actually shaken out as fifth, right behind Stormfly. Now that's an effective on-track third position, because Steve Stoughton in first and Devlin Calypso on second are still to pit, so they will drop back into their genuine position. But the one who has come unstuck there is Cajun 100 is in second. Timorous dropped down to 6th there, so I don't quite know, because he was right on the back door of Cajun 100 there, and I thought he was just about to get him, but clearly he didn't. So, and Timorous has gone something different on that pit stop. So it's Dan versus Stormfly all over again as we scream down the hill. We've got Cajun in front of us, who, don't take this the wrong way, he is the slowest of these three drivers, but he's got track position at the moment. So let's see what these guys can work out between them. They've got a bit of a gap back behind them as well. Timorous is up to 5th. Devlin Calypso has gone for the pits. So it's not worked too bad out for Timorous, though, but he has ended up with Dan and Stormfly in front of him. Now, Stormfly's looking to the inside a bit there, possibly. No, he's put him a bit out of position in the corner, Stormfly, and Dan was looking to see if he could take an opportunity, but he decided better off it. So, but and Steve Stone's staying out. How on earth is he doing that? Because he didn't have it anywhere, and he must be going really easy on that fuel, but I think he is going to have to pit at the end of this lap. Oh, he's coming down. Oh, Cajun, what happened? I think he got it all a little bit sideways coming out of the corner there. And unfortunately, that just lost him speed as he was accelerating. So, but he's still up there in 4th, which is really a net 3rd, because Steve Stoughton has just pitted. So here we go, Dan on Stormfly. This is effectively the battle for the lead. So Timorous is coming in the background as well. I think he'll be by Cajun 100 within the next couple of laps. You see him coming in the background, but Cajun at the moment is still on for a net 3rd. So as they come round the pits, Steve Stoughton's in the pit lane at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. He's currently showing 6th, 7th, he's dropped right back now, unfortunately. Oh, he's just coming out of the pits now. I think he may come up a little bit from where we thought he was. I think the pit lane is a bit of a challenge, because you have to turn around the inside of that tight first corner, and he's popped out in 5th. So that strategy has very much worked for him as well. So, as I mentioned before the race starts, strategy was something that was going to come into play tonight, and I don't think it's over yet, because I think we're going to get other factors and other pit stops to come into play. Now I'm loath to look away from Dan and Stormfly, but I think we've got a move coming behind with Timorous and Cajun. So I don't think Dan is going to do anything quite yet, unless Stormfly makes a mistake, because I think there'll be more pit stops to be had. So I think that's where it might come for Dan to make an opportunity later on. So we'll work our way down the field in a moment or two when we just get these particular battles settled out. So I think this could be Timorou's opportunity, maybe down the straight. If he can get close enough to that Mercedes in front of him, he might be able to put a move on him. So up, there we go, over the crest. No, the power of that Mercedes is keeping it ahead of the VW Beetle. So Timorous is going to have to go for another lap, because unless Cajun makes a mistake, there's nowhere on this track really to make an obvious overtake. And just as I say it, Cajun makes a mistake and puts the wheel in the sand. So Timorous is looking quite racy behind him at the moment. Let's hop on board, see what opportunities are going to present him. Now, this is where Cajun made a mistake a couple of laps ago, but he hasn't done this time. Keeping an eye on the leaders as well, no change position there. Dan in the red Porsche up there, looking quite racy. Timorous going to go for the inside at the corkscrew. No, Cajun shuts the door on him very firmly but politely. Here we go, over the top, back down the hill. Great speed you can get from that drop off, but you've also got to be careful of the track limits as well. So these guys are pulling away from Stu Stoughton in 5th, who was around about 5 seconds ahead behind Timorous a couple of laps ago, but he's now nearly 7. So these 4 at the front are definitely gapping the rest of the field. But I think the one who might also be on the move is Lockstech. Oh, here we go, Lockstech we're riding on board with now, going for the inside of Stu Stoughton. Oh, Stu Stoughton closing that door against the wall, but Lockstech was having none of it. And look in the background, that looks like Panos is going to have a go as well. So Panos is recovering. Look in the mirror at the top. No. Let's look back. Great, these onboard views. So Steve Stoughton there in 6th has just been overtaken by Timorous. And again, it looks like the Greeks are hunting in a pack, as Stu is defending all that he can from Panos. But it looks like Panos is going to try up the inside here. There we go. Great shots on screen. Look at that. Panos has slid through, and I think the next one who's going to be having a go at doing that is Chili Bass. Look at that, he's going to try the next corner. No, Stu Stoughton shuts the door. So as we work our way up the hill towards Corkscrew, can Chili Bass do anything here? Here we go, dropping off the edge of the earth as we go. Whoa, look at that, fantastic shots we're getting here. So, and just in all that excitement, we missed Dan overtaking Stormfly, and I've gone back, and sadly no, we're not getting decent replays tonight, so we'll just have to quickly come out of that one. And unfortunately we missed what happened there. Despite my best efforts to keep an eye on what was happening up the front, Dan decided to make a manoeuvre when I wasn't watching, because we had all that excitement further back. So let's look where we are with fuel and so on. We're on board with Cajun 100 with the Mercedes. Now he's got about half a tank with 15 minutes remaining. Now these guys pitted at around about 6 or 7 minutes. So I don't think these guys are going to have enough fuel to get to the end. So, and particularly looking at the situation with Cajun 100 at the moment, I think he must have... Why is everybody making mistakes when I'm looking away from? Cajun 100 has made a mistake somewhere, because he was right up with Timorous, and he's now dropped back into the clutches of Lockstech, who is 5th. But, you know, Cajun's on there for a really good result. I think he'll be chuffed with that one. So Lockstech, he was one of the drivers on the medium tyres, I believe, to start with, but he's working his way through. He was part of that great battle in the first race, and we look like we've got the same battle boiling itself up again, because we've got Dan going for the pits. So he's on a counter strategy, so he's gone for the pits, but Stormfly is going out with the lead. So be interesting. Let's have a look to see what Dan is going to do. I can't see where he is quite at the moment. He's 11th. There we go. So we'll get the onboard. We've got the onboard date on the screen now. Now he was running down on fuel, so I reckon he might have done a back of the fag packet calculation, and probably reckons he can now get to the end, because yes, he must be able to, because there's 13.5 minutes remaining, and he pitted at the end of the first lap after that incident, so that would have been about 2 minutes in. So yes, he can make it to the end. So, oh hello, what's happened here? Timorous is taking the lead from Stormfly. It's all happening out of my sight. Somebody sacked the commentator. It's all going pear-shaped. So Stormfly, who was up there battling with Dan, but you know, Timorous was making his way forward. Timorous has taken the lead. So I don't quite know how that's occurred. So let's have a look on board. Well, they got similar fuel and they got similar tyre wear. So I would imagine Stormfly somewhere, unseen by us yet again, has made a mistake. So this is shaking things up completely. So now the interesting thing is Stormfly is going to have to make another pit stop. We've got just 12.5 minutes remaining. Yes, Stormfly's going to have to make another pit stop. He's got about a third of a tank remaining. But his advantage over Dan is that he won't have to take such a long pit stop. So he may get an advantage there, because he's only going to probably have to put in about half the fuel that Dan had to. So Dan was stationary for that much longer. But it does look like Stormfly is making the comeback on Timorous. So just as I was working through the field, so Cajun's still hanging on there in third, still being hunted down by Lockstech, Panos and Chili Bass. And he's looking a bit racy in the background there with Lockstech and Chili Bass. Sorry, Lockstech and Panos, I do apologise. So these guys, yeah, they're all these ones that pitted around about lap 5 are on about a third of a tank. Their tyres are starting to show a certain amount of wear, but I think they'll all want to hang it out until the last possible minute to stop, so they're stationary for as short as possible. So we've got just over 11 minutes remaining. So, oh hello, that's Panos having a look around the outside of Lockstech. Can he get him on the cutback as they head up towards turn 2? No, I don't think he can. Great shots from the heli cam. No. Panos falls back in position. And this is all playing into Cajun 100's hands, that little way up in front, because this is slowing these guys up as Lockstech's defending and Panos is attacking. So, and Chili Bass is coming in the background as well. And Stu's down, whose strategy seemed to work for him, but there's now slipped down for 7th. He's not too far away. Let's hop on with Stu, because I'm loath to, because every time I look away, there's somebody carries out an overtake. Oh, hello, what's happened with Cajun? He's running really slowly. It looks like he must have had some kind of incident there. So he had a nice bit of a gap, and now he is getting really heavy attention from Lockstech. Oh, Stormfly, Timorous, both into the pits at the same time. Cajun's gone for the pits. Right. Second round of stops. We're just under 10 minutes, whereas Lockstech's decided to carry on. Now, he's got a quarter of a tank, but he's also got very worn tyres. So, the one that we need to see where this is going to liven up is Dan. And that was a lucky shot for me, because he's down there in 10th at the moment. 3/4 of a tank of fuel. How's he going to shake out with the guys who are in the pits? So, as he comes up the main straight, is there anybody coming out of the pits, or is Dan going to launch it straight back into the lead? Now, Select, Stu Stout and Lockstech haven't pitted, so that looks to me as though Dan has effectively got the lead back, and unless I'm missing something, by quite some margin. So yeah, he's 5.5 seconds in front of Timorous and Stormfly, who've also now done their final pit stops. So from being last at the end of the first lap, Dan is now de facto leader, and we've still got 8.5 minutes remaining. So incredible comeback drive there from Dan. Really quick thinking on that first lap to go get off those medium tyres, get onto something sticky, and get his first stop out of the way. He's carried more fuel, but that has definitely worked for him. Now, Lockstech and Select have gone for the pits. So the one that I'll be interested to hop on board with is Timorous, who has kept himself ahead of Stormfly, but I think Lockstech is going to come out somewhere around about these two guys. So it was looking good for Stormfly early on, with Dan having that problem and Timorous behind him, but now Stormfly is down effectively in a third. Steve Stoughton's on a different pit strategy, so he's going to shuffle back in the pack a little later on. But Stormfly's looking quite racy, and that is, who can we see up in the front is, in the distance was Dan. But Lockstech has come out behind these guys, and by the looks of it, quite some margin. So that has probably settled the occupants of the podium. What we don't know is what order they're going to be in. So Steve Stoughton currently there in first, but he is going to have to do another pit stop. So the guys that have done their second pit is Dan, Timorous and Stormfly, and basically everybody you can see below them. Unfortunately, Cajun, it didn't really work out for him through that pit stop sequence, because he's dropped there to 7th. He's fallen back behind Panos, but I imagine he's probably got quite close attention from Chili Bass. Yes, he has. So, but no, I say close attention. There's a little bit of a gap there, and he's putting in quick times there. He's quarter of a second up on his fastest, so he's certainly putting some time in there. We'll hop down, say hello to a few of our other drivers out there tonight. There's WEC Scally in the fairly plain blue Beetle, and just as I hop on board with him, he goes for his pit stop. So we'll come back and talk to him a little bit later. So who else have we got? We've got Noddy's mate in 11th. By the looks of it, he's completed all his stops. So he's now up to 10th. He's completed all his stops. So I think he's probably going to be on for that rough position. I don't know where Stu Stout is going to pop out when he eventually goes for his final pit stop. So that may be something for us to watch for. And then in 11th, we've got Devlin Calypso in one of the other Mercedes. He's not that far behind Noddy's mate, but this second stop is definitely not working out for Scally. He's just coming out of the pit lane now, but interestingly, Devlin Calypso for some reason is on the medium tyres, so I don't know why he's gone for that as a strategy, because I would have thought with the fuel usage it would be more effective. Once your tyres are used up, your fuel's fairly well used up. So I'm quite surprised he's gone for the mediums, but maybe there was some thinking there he had on the strategy. Now the one who, the other one using the mediums is Stu Stoughton, so maybe there is something in it. He's 13 seconds up the road, and he's got over a quarter of a tank left. Has Stu Stoughton pulled a stunt here that I wasn't expecting? I think he has. Because at the moment, I think he's got enough fuel to get to the end of the race. His tyres will certainly make the end of the race. Those medium tyres don't give quite as much grip, but they do give much longer wear. And he's 12 seconds ahead of Dan and keeping a fairly steady gap. And for somebody who said he wasn't sure if he'd race tonight because he wasn't feeling very well, he could have played an absolute blinder. So we're going to come round He's going to cross the line with about 4 minutes remaining. So that's going to be about 3 laps. So unless Dan and Stormfly can do something stupendous, Stu Stout's pulled an absolute blinder. I didn't think he could make it to the end. I thought he was going to have to pit again. But as far as I'm aware, Stu has pulled this out with a single pit stop, which is absolutely incredible. Nobody saw that coming. Certainly not Dan or Stormfly. So I am impressed. I'm almost speechless, which anybody who listens to me on a regular basis will find absolutely incredible. But Steve Stoughton has pulled an absolute blinder here, and none of us saw it coming. If he was listening to me commentate, he must have been chuckling away, because I was convinced he was going to have to pit again, and it doesn't look like he's going to. The gap to Dan is coming down, but nowhere near enough. It's around about, he's dropping by about 2 seconds a lap, and it needs to be dropping at about 6. So with Stu working his way down to the finish line, this is absolutely stunning. Let's have a quick look back to see what's happened to these other guys. Dan is going absolutely flat out, and he's probably thinking, where's this Steve Stoughton come from? How on earth is he in front of me? What did I do wrong? Well, I think, Dan, you did everything right. You had that problem at the first corner. You decided to go for the pits, which I think was the right thing to do, and go on the sticky tyres. But Steve Stoughton had an even better strategy up his sleeve, and none of us saw it coming, especially me. So Stormfly has now worked his way back past Timorous. I think this is a battle that's going to go down to the end, but it looks like Stormfly has gapped Timorous a little bit. It's only half a second, but it's interesting to see yet again, despite all the to and fro in the race, the Greeks have all ended up together. So I'm sure those guys must all practice together, because they seem to be able to keep, very neat and tidy in the same bit of the track. So the fifth is Panos, new driver to us tonight, but certainly showed some good speed and racecraft tonight. So I'm sure he'll be chuffed with that as a result. And then Chili Bass, who's a regular with us at Flat Out E-Racing, he has had a couple of sort of steadies, I think around about 6th place in the first race, and the same again in the second. Cajun 100 there in 7th. Now that looks like he's settled out for him as well. He was up there battling for the back end of the podium, but that's now slipped away from him a little bit. He's down there in 7th, but I think he'll be quite happy with that one, because that was good solid performance, no significant mistakes, and you got to be in it to win it, so I think he'll be pleased with that one. Select there in 9th. So he was battling with some of those guys a little bit further up earlier on. It seems to just fallen back a little bit. I think he was one that had to work hard, because he had the counter tyres on the mediums, which were a bit harder work. And then Noddy's mate, he's up there in 9th, so I think he'll be quite chuffed with that one. Loxtech, he's dropped back. I don't know quite how that's occurred. He was a little bit further up, and that's going to be a track limits warning, I can tell straight away. So we'll move on to Devlin Calypso. He had a moment in the sun up there at the front for a couple of laps during the pit stop sequence, but he's dropped back down there to 11th at the moment. And then finally in 12th place is Scally, who's coming around to complete the field. Now these guys towards the back of the field will be starting their last lap. Looks like he's having that on, but it looks like he's got enough fuel to get to the end. Or maybe it's not over. Maybe I was clearing the throat of the fat lady a little bit too early on, because I've just moved back up the front. Stu Stoughton, having had that gap of 13 seconds about 3 laps ago, has got it. It's down now. Oh no, the time's out. The time's out. Stu Stoughton's won it. I thought there was time for another lap, but there wasn't. Stu Stoughton's our winner. Fantastic driving there. What a great strategy. So Dan is quite get it back. Panos crosses the line in 5th. Chili Bass through in 6th. They're coming through fast and furious tonight. Cajun 100, he's 7th. And then next along is Select. He's coming through. Looks quite pleased with that in 8th. Noddy's mate coming out of the last corner. he'll be pleased to have a finish. I know Neil's had a few incidents this season, but he'll be chuffed with that, down in there in 9th. And then Locksteck coming down the hill. I'm not quite sure what happened to Locksteck there, because he was a little bit further up, dicing really around the sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th position, and he slipped away and dropped back down there to 10th. But he's got a finish in, and not far behind him is Devlin Calypso. He's coming through in 11th. And then our final driver, just appears to be recovering from a little bit of an incident there on the last corner, is WEC Scally coming through in 12th. So we've had some great racing there tonight. I'm sure everyone will be chuffed with that one. Just having a look at the chat that's going on. Is Dan's making a couple of comments. He's got down his preferred lap. Yep, we saw that. But what, as you say, what a fantastic strategy by Stu. None of us saw that one coming. So he was one to benefit from the reverse grid, because he was, I think, 3rd or 4th on the grid for the reverse grid for the second race. But he managed to make his way through to. With strategy to win the race. Fantastic. So just got a few comments coming in. Our Greek drivers are saying F Harris style. I say the same back to you. Working down on the comments. Noddy's mate thinks he needs lessons seriously. Oh, I don't think that. You were doing quite well there. You came back through the field. Yeah, and say congratulations coming in for Stu Stoughton with that cracking strategy there. As I said at the beginning, the second race, it could all be about strategy, and that was exactly it. Stu Stoughton pulled one out of the bottom of the pack, which we never saw coming. So we've had some great racing tonight. Quick thanks to our sponsors, Decal Labs, come on board with us to provide prizes for the top drivers, so great to have them on board. Flat Out E-Racing will be back with you on Wednesday night with my good friend Jay coming along to do the commentating. That will be our Group 4 Championship. There's some great racing in that as well, so that's a good one. Good reason to click the like and subscribe under the YouTube so you get reminders of when we're online. So everyone out there, look after yourself, stay safe, and we will see you again soon.